My name is Sally Mais. I'm a photographer and I've recently been doing a lot of work photographing backstage in the theatre. I started off as an actor and was an actor in musicals, in plays and all sorts of things for years before I decided to go into photography. I'd always wanted to combine my knowledge and passion for the theatre, which is really my first love, with the photography. And I'd been mulling it over for a while and thinking, wouldn't it be great to do more backstage stuff? Yes, it's enjoyable to do the front of house things and to do stills and to see actors perform, but I just think it would be much more interesting for an audience to see more of what goes on behind the scenes. As one actor said to me, it's another show going on backstage. It's the kind of photography I love. I love taking pictures of people in a more spontaneous environment, kind of social photography. So it was a perfect marriage of the two, really. I call it the Beginners Project because beginners is the call that actors get at the very beginning of the show. So it's Act 1, beginners to the stage. So what I was really trying to capture was that build up to the first few minutes of actors going on the stage. I started off with Morecambe, which is a fantastic one-man show. This was an extraordinary one to do as a first project because the whole concept of a one-man show is amazing. You know, he's on his own. He's utterly alone. Really, I think this kind of sums it up. It's one man against all odds. It's him on his own in front of the empty theatre there in his Eric Morecambe boxer shorts, waiting to go on. Ernie in the show is played by this ventriloquist dummy. This is how they got round the lack of presence of Ernie in the show. And so you can just see in the back. What I found funny in the dressing room is that Ernie is this slightly eerie presence. He's very respected by Bob and everybody. He's sort of the other actor in the show, and every night before he goes on stage, Bob has a little ritual with Ernie. He says, should we do this then? And he replies back as the dummy, and they have this little conversation together, and you can see there's just this constant Ernie in the background, which I suppose is true to form because they were inseparable, Eric and Ernie, in real life, and I think Bob truly feels that. Well, life backstage is very interesting because it can be a mixture of everything. It can be very tense, it can be very mundane. Particularly if you've been in a show for a very long time, a lot of what goes on is actors coming in. It's such a routine for them that they can be in their dressing room reading books or being on their computer or whatever, and right up until the final minutes. And also their attitude towards it, particularly in a long-running show. Actors are coming, going down to the stage. Some of them are joking right up to the last minute. There's that ease. So to get that story of what they experience as opposed to what the audience see is really lovely. This was the first costume drama that I did. And it was a costume drama set in one of the oldest theatres in London. And so this double whammy was fantastic. This is the beautiful, lush Theatre Royal Haymarket. Everything about it is gorgeous. I mean, the main actors even get a special plaque with their names on it made for their performance. That's Penelope Keith's plaque, which is extraordinary, isn't it? But what I loved was the contrast. They're all still sitting there with their Starbucks coffees and their computers, and so there was a nice touch with that going on. I like this sort of doors open and just peeking through as if we're spying a little bit on them. This is nice with them Kieran brushing his teeth and Ian getting ready. This is Tony, who is he's got his laptop on, he's tweeting away, he's got his Spotify up and running, and so there's music blaring out in the corridors. All the actors are saying, right, what song should we have on tonight? And this is lovely. There's a lot of camaraderie going on this corridor with lots of dressing room doors being open. So it was perfect for me because I could just literally wander from one to the other. This is the dressing room next door. Peter Bowles looking very relaxed in his dressing room, reading the paper in his full regalia. Ever so often there's a picture that you take and you go, that's it, that's what it's about. And it really is capturing a picture that tells a story of what's going on, what we think might be going on in someone's mind. I think it's one picture that crystallises it for me, which is from The Rivals, and it's Kieran Self, who's just about to start the Act 2 beginner's call, and he's waiting to be the first person. The curtain's about to go up and you just see him waiting there to say his line. You know, any minute now he's about to launch into that line, and he's on, and we get to see that nice little moment just before it happens. I love this one. This is Robin waiting to go on. It's just that kind of lovely paraphernalia rubbish sort of background, which is very technical, and all the bits and the drabness, and there she is standing in this beautiful costume and sort of wondering what's going through her mind. She's just about to walk on stage. This is Tony, who he's marking off the performances that they've done. So he's done 198, 45 to go he's written, and every performance he was changing it. So not that it was like a prison sentence or anything, but they had been doing the show for quite a long time and were coming to the end of the run, and I think that was just a nice little touch on his dressing room mirror there. It's really interesting that as the project goes on, I think the nature of it's changing. I'm hanging around a lot more once the show has gone on, and finding that actually when the show's up and running, that's fantastic as well, because that's when the action really starts backstage, and there's lots of people running backwards and forwards, and there's scenery coming down, and there's all sorts of things going on. Okay, this is Regent's Park Open Air Theatre, which they did quite a few productions this year, but I went and did photos on Crazy for You, which was fabulous because it's just an old-fashioned musical. It has all these very lush costumes. It's a great setup anyway, because you've got a beautiful setting, the theatre's set amongst trees, and you've got this nice foliage here with the actors just coming in and out of the trees to make their entrance, which is really lovely. This is nice. This is one of the girls, the dancing girls, who are all well into the show and well rehearsed and well prepared now, and now they're just mucking about doing some little dance routine while somebody else is doing a number on stage. Also very happy because they're just about to transfer to the West End. And I love the relationship, particularly sort of dressers and actors. It's one of my favourite things, and here we've got a dresser helping an actor to get ready, and throughout the course of the show she's really working with this actor constantly. Here we see them during the show sorting his tie out and just adjusting his collar as he's getting ready. So it's those kind of moments that I really love, these little storytelling moments. Here this actor literally has about a minute, if less than that, to go through an entire costume change where he gets a beard. He's got about 4 or 5 people surrounding him. One's putting on a wig, one's got the moustache ready, someone else is doing his costume, and it's really, you know, he's got to get that done in a certain amount of time before he goes back on. They've got this lovely box. It is literally like a little shed that is the quick change area just off the stage. So the stage is just up here. And this is all the costumes laid out for the girls who are any minute now going to run off and go straight up here, and they'll all have a dresser each behind them helping them get on. They've got their wigs ready with their hair pieces, their hats and everything, and the lovely costumes waiting. Of course, actors have a very sixth sense about where a camera is, because that's what they do. So getting actors to switch off and not pose for the camera is much more challenging as well. It's lovely to catch them. It's harder to catch actors with their guard down, but when you do, you really know, yes, that's a lovely moment. it's been really satisfying to do it as a project. Because I feel really at home in the theatre. I love it, and it's strange because having been an actor, I suppose, when I'm there and I'm photographing the actors, I genuinely feel when the calls come and they say 5 minutes and the beginner's call, I have that little jump on myself of feeling, you know, remembering exactly what it was like to go on stage at that point, to have that call and that little burst of adrenaline. And I don't think it ever goes away.